All right, everybody. We are back with a little Harbor Heresy. What up, Lee? So we're going over. Oh, this one doesn't have chat in the stream. So we're going over Harbor Heresy 2024. Let's get it started with the promo, boys. Well, brothers. What happened this weekend? This weekend was Harbor Heresy, brothers. And what happened? Oh, that's right. We brought home the heart. And oh, yeah, you came, Colby Hopkins. You came. You came for me, brother. And you ran scared. But yes, when I go to a tournament, I'm always looking to bring home the heart. And yes, Nick Froome, you tried to slow me down, but you were unable to. And Colby Hopkins once again ran scared. And Paul Winters thought he could bring his dirty little sex demons to crawl all over my beautiful Chaos Knights. But let me tell you something, brother. When you add in an entire extra knight chassis to what is the pinnacle, the cream of the crop of Chaos Knights lists, you go from a 79.83 chance of winning to a 97.6 chance of winning. And when that list is piloted by one as gorgeous, as beautiful, as hyper intelligent as myself, the odds of winning go up to 116%. And that's when hardware gets taken home, brother. Hardware gets taken home. What's that? What's that? What? What?
Oh, yeah, no, Bird, yeah, he did great. No, he did great. He definitely won all of his games, that's for sure. And he definitely participated in the event he put it on. And it definitely, you'll see it definitely at BCP because it's definitely big enough, for sure. But don't worry about it. Great.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it was basically a small RTT. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that not only am I perfection at playing, why wouldn't I take my tournament? I mean, I put together perfection. It might as well be won by perfection. And yes, Donald Plummer may have tied me. I might not have technically won every game, but I took it when it counts. I took the hardware, brother. And when the gobbler comes this November, Colby Hopkins, in Tanner Herbert, I'll be waiting for you at the Gobbler Brothers. I'll be waiting for you. All right, so there's the promo. I'm having fun doing those. So, Harbor Heresy, it's our tournament we do. We do 3 big tournaments a year, and this one wasn't very big. It turned out happening at the same time as Harvester over in on the east side. And yeah, we only had I think 25 signups and ended up starting with like 23, which worked out well because guys didn't have to worry about ELO. Um, but it was at Game Freaks in Aberdeen. So Game Freaks is doing awesome. There's a Game Freaks in Aberdeen. Ooh, I'm definitely gonna drop that into the next one, Lee. What you gonna do when the bird preys on you, brother? That one's getting dropped into the next one. Um, but so it's in Aberdeen. There's also a location in Elma. and there's now one in Shelton. So we're going to be doing monthly RTTs from now on, swapping between the first one will be in Aberdeen. I got to find a date that's exactly in between any other tournaments in November. And then the December one, we're hoping to have an Elma. So that way we can start getting more people into the Elma shop. But so this is the list I ended up taking. It was an amazing room. Like the guy, there was not a single shitbird in the entire room. It was all great, awesome people. So yeah, there was nobody that sucked. So anyway, here's my list. Because they made changes, because the points update came out and we were going live with the points. New Codex Blood Angels were allowed, and all the points and new rulings were active. Because of the new rulings, I was able to get an entire another Knight chassis in. So this is essentially same list that I've been running. One Wardog Stalker with Aura Tear. That gives it sticky objectives. Every single Wardog has the ignore line of sight out of ignore line of sight shots. You know, they now only hit on 4s if you're out of sight. That's fine. The nerf was probably necessary. This list would be even grosser if it doesn't. Every single one of these, every single thing in my list is battle line. And that becomes important with the new Pariah mission decks, mission pack, because there's tons of benefits to Pariah, or to battle line and Pariah. So it is 5 Wardog Brigands, 6 Wardog Carnivores, and a Stalker. 2 units of Blue Horrors. Blue Horrors have Infiltrate, and they're tough to get rid of, and they're the MVPs of almost every game. And 2 packs of Nurglings. The Nurgling 2 packs became kind of important in some spots in these games. So, but great room. Everybody was awesome. So my first game was against Nick Fromm, and he was running Hypercrypt Necrons. Hexmark Destroyer, Caesaris, Plasmancer. None of these had any impact on the game. Silent King's pretty awesome. The Necron Warriors don't hold up well to Chaos Knights. Reanimator is awesome. Death Marks, they're just there to score points. 2 Doomsday Arcs are scary, and we'll get into them. And some Locust Destroyers just to grab points. And a Monolith, which is the Hypercrypt, pretty much thing. So it started out just fine. I got a little greedy early. Charged in. I believe I went second. He couldn't get any shots out turn 1. I stepped out with quite a bit of stuff and started shooting into the Warriors. Did a bunch of damage to him. He had to pull them. So Necrons can teleport a unit to the Hypercrypt. And so he had to teleport the Warriors out of there. I charged in. Did not do anything to Caesaris. Did not do anything to a Doomsday Arc I got to. Charged into the Silent King. Killed off both of its Mahirs. And put some wounds on the Silent King. Then he turned around. I think he picked up the 2 knights he needed to. But all this time, the Nurglings are scoring points and everything. Then, rest of everything else came in from my turn on my next turn. And I made some mistakes. I started... he was 4 up, save spiking everything. And I split some attacks that I shouldn't have split. Because I was just trying to keep the Mahirs gone and out. And because there's 6 damage shot he gets from the Silent King. I was just trying to keep the Mahirs down and out. Was just going to ignore the Monolith. Sure, he picks up a knight a turn with the Monolith. Can't guarantee himself 2. And pretty much has to put everything from Monolith into 1. As long as I pick up these 2 Doomsday Arcs, we've got no issues. I could not pick up a Doomsday Arc with a Carnivore to save my fucking life. It was ridiculous. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. I split attacks when I shouldn't have. I mean, it's hard to say shouldn't have
Doomsday Arc still should have died. You know, splitting attacks is one of those things where it's like, there's times to do it, times to not do it. I felt this was a time to do it. And I'm a firm believer in not splitting attacks. You get done what you need to get done. But Doomsday Arcs aren't that tough. Like, yes, they have a 4-up invuln, but, you know, 4 attacks from a carnivore should get it done over it. Whoa, somebody's hot rodding out. Better watch out. My wife will run out the door and jump in the car with them. But it basically could not kill the Doomsday Arcs. My carnivores whiffed. I had a carnivore locked in combat with a Doomsday Arc for 3 combats, and it didn't fucking kill it. And I had stopped splitting attacks. So, to put it on the perspective of everything that went wrong. That carnivore died to melee from a Doomsday Arc. Doomsday Arcs don't have any melee. One knight came up. All the Silent King's Mahirs are dead. And he offs a knight from 3 wounds, which, you know, in Overwatch. Gets a 6 through. Wounds on a 5+. And I fail the fucking save. And I CP re-rolled the fucking save, too. Yeah, a lot of shit went bad. The only shit that went good is during the splitting attacks, I was like, yeah, I'll put 2 into this Doomsday Arc that's almost dead. And I'll put 4 swings into the monolith, and just casually killed the fucking monolith. So that's the only thing that went right in the game, actually, for me. And because of that, I was able to get a win. I got the win 70-65, much closer than it should have been. So great. Then I played Kim Lawrence on with Chaos Space Marines. This list is really freaking cute. He ended up going first. Not great for him. Because what does he do against the Chaos Knights? If any of this comes out, so we'll go over his list real quick. Has Abaddon. Abaddon gives full rerolls. Chaos Lord and Terminator armor and a big giant brick of Terminators. Cypher is absolutely amazing, and every Chaos Space Marine player should have Cypher in their list. Cypher basically means if you try to buff one of your units with a stratagem, it costs an extra CP if you're within 12 of Cypher. It's absolutely brilliant. And he has Lone Op, so you hide him behind a building around this big old brick of Chaos Terminators. And he gets pretty goddamn good. He had 2 Predator Destructors with the autocannon. So not as much of a threat to me because it's wounding me on 5s. The 2 last cannons are kind of gross. He also had 2 Vindicators. These are super scary for Chaos Knights. These will pretty much almost guaranteed, especially with full rerolls from Abaddon, pick up a Chaos Knight a turn. The Vindicators. And then he had Chosen with Abaddon. And a Hellbrute and Warp Talons for coming in scoring points. This does not match up well into Chaos Knights. And going second, it matches up even worse. But Abaddon being able to do rerolls into these Vindicators is absolutely terrifying. I knew these Vindicators were the scariest thing that had to go. I knew the moment that I decided to turn everything, like I get these Chaos Terminators out in the open where I can shoot at them, I'm going to kill them with the Brigands and then finish them off with charges with the things. So I did manage to get into a Vindicator on my go, and it took out a Vindicator. So I was safe, marked safe from the second Vindicator. Or from the first Vindicator. And the second one, I'm fine losing the knight. And he picked up the knights he needed to pick up right off the gate. But there was just too many knights. Adding an extra knight body in is horrifying. There was multiple times during the game I'd get to round... game against Nick. Game against Kim, too. I'm like... We get to round 3, and I'm like... Oh, wow. This is my old Chaos Knights list. So, having the non-throwaway... Having an extra having an extra carnivore that you could toss is huge. And so, yeah, it's not a great matchup for Kim. He can't go second in this matchup. And I was able to get him. So then we went to turn, and Kim's a great opponent. Nick's a great opponent. It was awesome. In fact, Nick challenged me because it was a small tournament, so we allow challenges round one. If people want to challenge somebody because they really want to play them, they can challenge somebody. And so Nick challenged me. So yeah, then, so that's round 2. Then we get to round 3, and round 3 is me against Donald Plummer. And Donald, now there's 5 of them. Yes, there is 5 commanders. So it's 5 battle suits. One with flamers, one with the Farsight is in with the Melta guys. I don't remember what they're called. I just call them the Melta guys. I don't remember whether it's fusion blasters or what it's called. But yeah, it was interesting. He has a ghost keel in there. Ghost keels are really good, by the way. Infiltrate. They have stealth. I think they have lone op too. But they have two drones with them that blank two failed saves. So essentially, my Meltas, if I fire with the Meltas, he can just blank off Meltas. If I hit him with a Carnivore, which is what ends up happening later in the game, he just blanks off those 2 saves and it survives. Unless I get everything through and he fails all his saves. But yeah. Carnivores, Pathfinders for the Tau sighting thing. And he's Ret Cadre, by the way. Stealth battle suits. I think he had 3 packs stealth battle suits. Yeah, they're really good. And Vespid can go up and down. So they can come down, do an action, and if they survive on my turn, pop right back up in the air. Tau now have full fire and fade. So these crisis suits can come out, absolutely nuke a unit, then do their full move back to exactly where they were safe. This was a really cagey game with both me and Donald. It was real cagey. We weren't killing. There was hardly anything dead turn 3. Just his junk scoring units. I think I lost a knight or 2. It was really, he can only bring out 1 thing of battle suits a turn because he has to be able to get them back. Otherwise, I just charge into him, and if Carnivore touches 1, it just annihilates a battle suit unit. So that can't happen. But I also can't leave any knights out where he can get a battlesuit unit on them without me being able to immediately counter into that battlesuit unit. I would absolutely trade a knight for a battlesuit unit, but he's not going to let that happen, and I'm not going to let him pick up a knight for free. So it was a real cagey matchup. The Blues did good. They lasted long enough to get me some points. And it was just a really, really, really good, close, tight game. We were tied on primary at the end of 3, and we both had to make a decision on whether we wanted to take a secret mission. And Donald went second, so I had to go first in this game, which is bad for me. It's not as bad because, like I said, my list is built to be able to go turn 1, have a null turn essentially with the Blues doing actions. There's quite a few actions I can get. A lot of times I have to throw away my 1 CP if I get something to toss a bad card and hope I get something like Cleanse or, Containment or anything like that. I always want to make sure that, and I put 1 of my Nurglings in the air, 1 on the board because he can 3-inch deep strike. So I had to keep something on my home objective to make sure he just couldn't deep strike onto it. So I only had one Nurgling units for bouncing up the board to do stuff, to do like behind enemy lines, etc. But I think I tossed away a thing. But anyway, I ended up getting 9 victory points in turn 1, and was able to knock down a bunch of his score units, kill stuff out of each of his packs of scoring units to make it so he has to take battle shock tests if he's in 12 of the Knights. Warhammer 40K is a blast. It is a really good, and tournament 40K specifically in the Pacific Northwest is amazing because there's a really good tournament every weekend run by great people, and mostly all of that guy that you end up getting at tournament play for competitive events doesn't play in the Pacific Northwest anymore. They have mostly been ran out through peer pressure, tournament organizers realizing that, every piece of shit gives 5 bad games to his opponents, and he's ruining 5 people's weekend. So, basically, you start building models. You can also play on Tabletop Simulator. You can play online. You got to do a lot of setup on Tabletop Simulator, but you can play 40K online on Tabletop Simulator. It's basically little army men. You build little army men, you paint little army men, and then you go play in tournaments with little army men. But yeah, so it was an amazing game. It came down to we each couldn't decide if we wanted to take a secret mission. We both ended up not taking secret missions. The way the game played out, had Donald taken a secret mission, he would have won, but also I would have known what secret mission he was taking because he had no battle line. So it would have been Warlord on my home objective, and there's no fucking way I'm going to let that happen. Yeah, it was a really, 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 really close game. Tabletop Simulator, it's on Steam, I believe. But yeah, real close game, really awesome fucking game. It was a tie. It was great. Me and Donald always have, every time we play, we have super cagey fucking games because Donald is a master of Tau. It's all he plays, kind of like I do with Chaos Knights and like I did with Nurgle before. I pick an army and I stay with it for years. And Donald does the same thing. And Donald knows exactly what everything does inside and out in his army. He knows exactly what it can do, exactly what it can't do. And he plays amazing games. Like, he wins tournaments with Tau when Tau are not good. So I drew, but because it was a small tournament and a 5-round tournament, me and Donald both know we could come back and win the tournament. And at this point, Paul Winters is 3-0 with Slaanesh. So day 2, round 4 pops up. And it is, I'm playing Ryan Lynn, who's also a very goddamn good player, with Tyranids. And Tyranids are not very good right now. Yeah. Tyranids are not very good. I'll get into why Paul's list is scary and horrific in a minute, Darren. So Ryan is running Tyranids. He's got a Broodlord. He's got a Neurotyrant. He's got Old One-Eye, and he's got a Swarmlord. He's got 2 packs of Gaunts and Termagaunts. He has a Biovore, so that way he can throw Spore Mines. Spore Mines can still score behind enemy lines and engage on all fronts. And Ryan just takes fixed objectives and does behind enemy lines and engage on all fronts, which is something in my deployment zone and something in all 4 table quarters. He also has 2 Carnifexes that go with Old One-Eye. He's got a pack of Gene Stealers that goes with the Broodlord. And then he's got a bunch of Lictors and a Malceptor. Von Ryan Leapers are basically just Lictors. They're just a different set of Lictors. So he's got a total of like 6 infiltrating units for scoring points here. He's got Termagaunts and Hormagaunts for holding stuff. Biovore for Spore Mines, Carnifexes. This game came down to just his units are too expensive for what they do, and my units are just fucking hyper efficient and great. And in fact, I got a little bit cocky early on, and it almost cost me the game. I got a little bit cocky. I'm like, garbage Tyranids can't hang with me, brah. And it almost ended up costing me the game. But I was able to get it done. The fact of the matter is, it's just bullshit. These Gene Stealers cost 150 points and just melt everything in my list, including the top hats. The top hats killed like 4 of those. As soon as a single fucking brigand turns on one of these units of Hormagaunts, it's 9 down. So another one turns on and it's another 9 down. And a couple top hats finish off a 130 point unit for nothing. And it's just like, you gotta be shitting me. It's basically, my stuff is just cheaper and better. The Malceptor tanked a lot. Malceptor was quite tanky. Or was it the Malceptor or the... I don't remember if it's the Malceptor or the Neurotyrant. I don't remember which one it is. But yeah, it tanked really well. The Carnifexes, I mean, to put it in perspective, 2 Carnifexes are 230 points. 2 Carnivores are 260. These don't have an invuln. They don't hit as well. They don't move as well. There's nothing about them that's better. This is just a matter of his stuff. Oh, and he has 6 Zoanthropes. These were actually scary to my knights, and I underestimated them a lot. And they were probably his best unit in the game, I think. Between that and the I think it's the Neurotyrant is, let me see, Neurotyrant or Malceptor. Them and the Malceptor were his best units because the Malceptor just tanked a shit ton of damage. But it was just simply a matter of his shit is overpriced, my shit isn't. You know, Swarm Lord's 240 points and stepped up. I think he ganked the knight and killed it, and then I just annihilated it like it was fucking nothing. And that's, you know, that's just a matter of that book's weak, needs better point adjustments. There's just nothing there. And Ryan's a really good player. And like I said, I got cocky and almost lost this game. And then Paul runs at Donald and beats Donald. So that sets up round 5. Me and Paul for the championship. So let's look at Paul's list. Paul has basically, he calls it Hamstroker's Ejacula. Quality list. Quality list name. It has 4 total Keepers of Secrets, one of which being Shalaxi. A Mask. 2 big packs of Fiends. And 3 Secret Chariots. And that's the list. So Paul has to line up and rush at you. He's able to advance and charge 1 unit. His entire unit has 5, or his entire army has 5 up, feel no pain. His entire army has dev wounds on 6s, which is kind of gross. He can get a lot of -1 to hits in there. The mask gives a -1 to wound. In an aura, it's rough. It's rough if you deal with this wrong. You are going to lose. So the Fiends are fast, get on top of you, and they have dev wounds. The Keepers are fast, get on top of you, and have dev wounds. Shalaxi is fast, gets on top of you, has dev wounds, a 4-up invuln, is -1 to hit, and is super fucking hard to kill. Shalaxi is scary as fuck. And 3 Secret Chariots to grab onto objectives. And they're kind of tough for what they are. They're T6. You know, they have enough attacks and stuff to take out trash. So, knowing that Paul's stuff, his real scary stuff, is the Keepers. And I have to keep him out of my knights and backline. So, it started out as bullshit because I rolled Paul rolled I rolled a 2 to go first, and Paul rolled a 1 to go first. So I had to go first, which was horseshit. I did not want to go first against Paul. I wanted Paul to run forward, and then I get to fucking annihilate. That was not in the game plan, so went into the normal thing. Killed out quite a few Fiends turn 1 with the ignore line of sights, and because he has to be up on the starting line, was able to get 1 shooting knight out on the outside and gun some fiends down. So that helped. But I was able to, essentially create a line, and I kept both of my Nurglings on the table against Paul, right behind the blues. And Paul's played against him enough. Paul knows how dangerous Nurglings are for Slaanesh in particular, because neg 1 to hit in a 6-inch aura really starts taking hits away. Hits you have to kill packs of blues. And I brought 1 knight just forward enough into an area of the table where Shalaxi was going to have to come forward, has to go into that knight, and then I'm able to turn a shit ton of firepower in on Shalaxi. And I'm not underestimating Shalaxi. I know how hard she is to kill, and I know what happens if she gets into my Chaos Knights. It's not good. And then he sent 2 keepers one way, 2 keepers to the right hand of the table with a pack of fiends, and 2 keepers, 1 pack of fiends, and a chariot he sent to the right side of the table. 1 keeper, 1 pack of fiends, 1 keeper and 1 chariot he sent to the other side. I think that's how it went. Or no, it was 2 keepers, 1 chariot, 1 keeper, 1 pack of fiends, and then 1 pack of fiends had to come up to the middle of the board and take the center objective. Shalaxi comes, does exactly what I want her to do, kills that knight, and then I'm able to turn 3 carnivores, 3 brigands, and a stalker into Shalaxi. 2 of the brigands were outside melter range. So the stalker and a brigand are outside melter range. And I can see the fiends on the center objective. So I shoot the shit out of those fiends on the center objective. Get a lot of them down. And I know they have to stay there the whole game because Paul doesn't have sticky. And all the guns start going into Shalaxi. So once I know that, and he was not able to kill all the blues. And one Nurgling out of 1 pack of Nurgling survived. So I was able to then take those remaining brims and blues on both sides of the table and block off so his keepers would not be able to get to another knight. He was going to have to stop at movement-wise. He was going to have to stop, and his best-case scenario is he's able to pick up 1 knight on each side, and I still have enough power. So I dump everything into Shalaxi, except for the chain guns and the up tops were going into the fiends just to get them down. My Meltas were hot as shit. For anybody who plays Chaos Knights, they're Melta 4s, Strength 12, AP neg 4, neg 5 if it's the closest target. So there is a shit ton of pop there. The neg AP doesn't matter for Paul because he's demons. Yeah, the motherfucker could not fail a fucking 4-up. And I think I ended up over the course of the whole game only failed to hit and wound with 3 Meltas the entire game. Only Paul's just like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just not missing my invul. You can go fuck yourself. And it was gross. I think I ended up only damaging Shalaxi with 3 total Meltas. I roll a 1 for damage. Then I roll a 1 for damage. And then I think I got a 5 and then I got him with 1 that was AP neg 4 or AP Melta 4, and I think I did like 6 or 7 damage, and he ended up chopping off a couple of it. And because I only had 1 CP because I had to spend my other CP. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm going to explode 6s with the 3 carnivores that get into Shalaxi. Shalaxi takes one attack off the first one that swings. He doesn't have CP to interrupt. And he just starts spiking saves again. And I'm like, holy fuck. I didn't underestimate Shalaxi. This is not great. This is going to be really fucking bad if Shalaxi walks out of this. And I mean, I didn't underestimate her. I put in 3 fucking brigands, a stalker, and 3 carnivores. Like, that should kill fucking anything in the game. Like, easily. With exploding 6s on the carnivores in melee. I decided to do that because I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, Shalaxi lives and kills 1 fucking carnivore. And then I'm able to, because those blues lived, because the blues lived, I know I'm not gonna get crushed by the other keepers, because they can't get to me. So yeah, that, and then on the last carnivore, Shalaxi finally went down. So she didn't get to pick up she did not get to pick up a carnivore, and Shalaxi went down. Then Paul comes back. The problem with keepers into Chaos Knights outside of Shalaxi is, yes, they're 3 damage flat. Yes, they have dev wounds. Yes, they have, I think it was like 8 attacks each. Yes, they're really fucking good. Yes, they hit on 2s, but they're strength 9, and they wound me on 5s. So unless you're rolling a 6, you're fucked. And you know, I still get a 6-up save on them. I think they're neg 3, or they might be neg 2, but I still get a save, except for the dev wounds. And once Shalaxi was gone, and the fiends kind of got annihilated as soon as chain guns turned on them. And then it was, once Shalaxi got gotten, then it was just me rolling it up. But yeah, this list is horrifying, especially Paul's another one like Donald and me that plays a list, just completely plays that list, makes it the best possible list, and doesn't deviate to go from whatever is the best, you know, whatever is meta at the time. And these secret chariots are really, really good for their points. 65 points. These are freaking awesome. They have a ton of attacks for clearing out trash. They have dev wounds, so if they have to go into something, they can go into something. But they score points at 65 points a pop with decent. The fiends are pretty good. They're fast. They can go through walls. Because they're not beasts, or they're beasts, not swarm. So they're really good. Mask is good, and the keepers are good. It's just the keepers get stat checked into knights. Into anything T10, the keepers get stat checked. So I was able to win my own tournament, which sucks. So, by the way, I still do not have a GT win because this wasn't big enough to be a GT. It was a 2-day event, not big enough to be a GT. So I still don't have a GT win. So this does not break my streak of 10 top tables without a GT win. It was an amazing tournament. Every opponent was awesome. I'm super happy I got to play my boy Paul in the last round. That was cool. See, it used to be I played just straight up Nurgle, and Paul just played straight up Slaanesh. And we were the #1 Nurgle and Slaanesh player in the world for like multiple years in a row. It was just Paul was #1 Slaanesh, I was #1 Nurgle, and we ended up playing each other all the time. So, because we're both in the Pacific Northwest, we both go to the same tournaments. Yeah. So it was pretty cool to get to play Paul. Because COVID and stuff, Paul wasn't playing a bunch. And he's just getting back to playing a little bit. But yeah, for Paul to be 4-0, I was like, and then Shalaxi's not dying. And I'm like, oh God, I didn't underestimate Shalaxi, and it doesn't fucking matter. Great tournament. Great fun tournament. And the final placings were the final placings were me in first, Nick in second, um, Paul in third. Paul ended up getting best overall because his army's gorgeous. Donald ended up getting best painted because his army's gorgeous. And then Rick ended up getting second overall, and Nick ended up getting second best general. So yeah, ended up really really cool. And Sean Nasto with his Blood Angels ended up getting second best painted. But yeah, it was a great fun tournament. Colby Hopkins was there with his Space Wolves brother. Yeah. Darren ended up Darby ended up taking off after round 4 because he had a long drive. Josh ended up 2-3 with his orcs, or 3-2 with his orcs. And he's running triple Gorkanaut, which is cute. Rick is running his World Eaters with Angron. He had a blast. Caden ended up 3-2 with Grey Knights. Corwin ended up 3-2 with World Eaters. Rick and Corwin ended up playing each other as World Eaters. Colby said he really felt the Space Wolf point annihilation. Leland had a cute list. Leland had a real cute list. Pina took off after round 4 too with Soritas. I believe Paul and Pina played, and everybody just underestimated Paul's just absolute Slaanesh rush, and it is horrifying. And yeah, Darby underestimated Paul's Slaanesh rush. Everybody underestimated Paul's Slaanesh rush, and I don't think there is any overestimating it. I believe I handled it the best I could, and I was a couple failed saves away from it being a fucking disaster. Had his saves on Schlaxy stayed hot, I was in fucking trouble. But more importantly, those blues and brims survived, allowed me to cut off those keepers from going to the sides and around. They had to come right into the teeth that I could just have blocked off. And then, so yeah, I mean, he brought his 2 keepers. They ended up picking up a knight, I think, and then they got papowed and crunchied. And yeah, but it was a great fun tournament. I think the next tournament I'm going to be going to is I'm trying to get on the wait list for a tournament out in Pasco on November 2nd. We'll see if I end up getting there. I might not, because it's a small tournament. They're really fun out there in Pasco. And then I'm on the wait list for the Guardian Gobbler. And so hopefully I get to go to that one. That one's on the 19th of November in Portland at Guardian Games. And John Adanya is running it. And his tournaments are great. And John is doing a great job with the terrain and everything. The link for John's terrain, if you want to support John, he makes great 10th edition tables that you can just buy a 10th edition 40K table. And boom, you're good to go. The link is in the description. And then there's also a link for, and I'm not sponsored by John or anything. He just does a great fucking job and want to see the dude succeed. And then the other link in the description is for War Games Live, which is just the best straight up tournament coverage in the world. It's the best 40K tournament coverage in the world. Joe does an amazing job. He drives around in an RV or flies across to London and gets like fucking no sleep because he gets picked up at the airport, dropped back off at his RV, and then has to drive to the next tournament. The dude drives around in an RV and does the best fucking tournament coverage. Like, his shit is top fucking notch. The audio video setup that he does is fucking tremendous. And so if you really want to learn about 40K tournament play, War Games Live, links in the description. It's the coolest. I wish that's kind of what we want. Hey, you haven't sent me the. You guys haven't said you wanted the link in the description there. El Pollo Loco. Yeah, you guys haven't told me you want links in the description of my stuff. I will totally put Chase's link in my description, but he hasn't said he wants it. So yeah, and if you need miniatures, go to the Pecking Order Etsy store. They sell miniatures for all different types of war games. I mean, they wouldn't sell anything for any Warhammer games because that would be IP infringement. But you know, they're space guys in armor with guns that maybe somebody could, I don't know, use in a game of 40K as a different model. But that's the Pecking Order on Etsy. So anyway, that's all for the tournament recap. Anybody have any questions on anything? Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitch. I don't care about subs on Twitch. I mean, if you've got your free Amazon sub and you're not using it, shit, give me your Amazon Prime sub on Twitch. I don't care about joins on YouTube. Just follow on YouTube so you can get the numbers up. But yeah, I was going to start a new Total War Warhammer campaign today, but I'm thinking I just might go back and stream some more New World. New World is really good. Literally, New World is really, really good. They redid the game, brought it out on consoles, made it so you can play it with a controller. Funny how an action combat or MMORPG should have been able to be played on a controller the whole time. They added in story. So one of the biggest things with New World was there's no story. Added in story. The whole thing is voice acted now. It is so much fun. I started playing it again last night and almost didn't put it down. Definitely check out New World. If you want, I'm on the Aquarius server. Anybody can play with me. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to do that because it was that good. I'm going to sit down and do a review video on New World and the improvements. I think, after I've gotten up to max level, because a lot of the problems in New World showed up around max level, when it originally came out. But I can say that it is 1,000% improvement on the early game. It is 1,000% improvement on the presentation. It's fun, and I always liked New World. I liked it the first time I played it. I liked it when Angry Earth came out. Angry Earth improved it. New World has done nothing but improved, and so I'll do a whole video on it. But anyway, you guys all have fun. I think I'm gonna eat, and then I'll probably jump on here in a couple hours, and then it'll probably be a long ass stream. It'll probably be an all night stream, like till like 1, 11, 12, 1 in the morning. So yeah, you guys all have fun, and I will see you later. Bye.